Hi guys, am I audible to you? Can you confirm through the chat window if you can hear me properly? I hope you can see my screen also. The agenda for today class is AWS versus Microsoft Azure. So here first I will tell you about the cloud computing, then we will compare the AWS and Microsoft Azure features. So if you are a .NET developer, if you are a Java developer, or like a PHP developer, so these differences will help you to understand like what are the alternative of AWS are available in Azure and what are the alternative of Azure are available in AWS. Okay, thank you for the confirmation. How many people are joining me first time? Can you confirm through the chat window? If you are joining me first time, please let me know. Okay, Mohammad Hashim is joining first time. What about others? Okay, Noop also joining for first time. Okay, so guys, if you are joining us first time, I request you to please do subscribe to .NETX YouTube channel, because here every weekend on Sunday we came live and discuss a new topic on every weekend. If you are interested to have a webinar on a session on a particular topic, let us know. If you will have the maximum vote regarding a particular topic, definitely we will have a live session on that particular topic. Yeah, thank you, Suresh, for joining us every time. No, thank you, Pankaj. Okay, so let's get started. I'm not taking your much time now. So the agenda for the today session is here. First, I will tell you about the cloud computing, because I know so many people are not aware of the cloud computing. So I just put some slides regarding what is cloud computing, what are the cloud advantages. Then we move to the what is Microsoft Azure, what is AWS, and if you are comparing the public cloud adoption of AWS, Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud in 2019 as well in 2020. So I will give you a quick recap over there. Then I will show you here what are the various AWS services are available, which you can use for building your, like for deploying your application over there. Then I will show you here a list of Azure services. Then we will compare the AWS and Azure services together. Then here I will tell you about what are the certification are available in AWS. If you are willing to become a AWS certified developer, AWS certified solution architect, so what are the certification exam are available? I will tell you them. And finally, I will show you here what are the various certification are available in Microsoft Azure as well. So it will give you a brief about the AWS and Azure, and we will compare the services together as well. So that if someone is already know the AWS and he is planning to learn the Azure, so by looking at that comparison, you can easily understand, okay, this is the alternative of AWS in Azure. If someone already know the Azure, so that will be helpful this session, like what are the Azure alternative are available in AWS. So this is the agenda of the session I'm just going to have for today class. So let's get started with the cloud computing. So cloud computing is a way to deliver the computing as a service rather than a product. So ultimately, we are not going to invest a lot in the hardware, because before the cloud computing, what a company need to have. A company need to purchase the hardware, then to purchase the storage resources. They need to hire a professional team also for managing those resources so that they can take the regular backup, they can manage the network and various other things. So after the introduction of cloud computing, all the things are available on subscription based model, or you can say on demand. You can have all the things. You can have the server, you can have the database, even you can have the physical devices as well. If you are having a mobile app, and that mobile app testing you are willing to do, so that testing can be done here with the help of uh, the devices provided by the cloud vendor. So we having so many options, which one of them you can use as per your requirement. So ultimately the objective of cloud computing is to provide the subscription based services for which particular service you're looking for. If you're looking for database, you can go for the database service. If you're looking for a virtual machine, you can go for the virtual machine service. If you're looking for a NoSQL database, you can go for the NoSQL database service. If you're looking for DevOps CI/CD pipeline, you can go for the cloud ready CI/CD pipeline software. Everything is available on demand here. Now let's have a look what are the cloud computing offering. The people actually who are new to the cloud computing, they should understand in what area the cloud actually helping us. Let's take the example of the on-prem data center. Let's say you are having a data center. So let's say you are having a company where the company having its own data center. So what are the various things a company is going to manage? Is a company is going to manage everything. So let's say in this picture, I'm taking the example of Windows server. I'm taking the example of Linux server. So there you are responsible for managing the networking, you're responsible for managing the storage, you're responsible for managing the server, virtualization, operating system, middleware, runtime, data, application. So everything you are managing over there, because for building or like say for hosting your application, these things are required. We need the hardware, we need the physical machine, we need the virtual machine where we can do the deployment of our application. So this is the way how a single company, if that company is having its own data center, managing everything, it's on-prem. So this is the example of here for the on-prem managing the things over there. But the same thing if you look at here for infrastructure as a service like EAS, because the cloud computing offering us three things: EAS, PaaS, and SaaS. So in case of infrastructure service, actually one of the cloud vendor is providing you the infrastructure. It can be from Microsoft, it can be from the AWS, it can be from the Google Cloud also. So Microsoft is giving you the infrastructure for managing your application, for managing your runtime environment, for managing your virtual machine also. So here they are managing for you networking, they are managing for your storage, they are managing for you physical server, they are managing for you virtualization. Now you have to decide which type of virtual machine you need. Do you need the Linux VM? Do you need the Windows VM? You have to decide. And as a middleware, you have to decide whether you are willing to install over there Docker, or whether you are willing to install over there something else. You have to decide over there. Runtime can be a .NET runtime, it can be a Java runtime, it can be some other language runtime. And as a database, you can install over there MySQL, you can install over there SQL Server. And as an application, you can deploy over there .NET based application, you can deploy there Java based application. It's up to you what type of application you are going to manage. So in the infrastructure service offering, these things are managed by the cloud vendor and these things are managed by you. The next one is a PaaS, platform as a service. And the platform as a service, let's say you are not willing to manage the operating system, you're not willing to manage the virtualization, you're not willing to manage the runtime. So in that case, you have to just focus on your application building. You have to just focus on the data you are willing to manage. Just forget about the other things. Just forget about to taking the regular backup. Just forget about other management things. These things would be managed by the Microsoft or AWS. You have to just build your application and decide what type of data you are willing to manage. And the Microsoft like AWS are offering us the PaaS based services. There you have to just start them. You have to just use them. So example of the PaaS based services are here, app services and the cloud services. If you're taking the example of Microsoft Azure over there, then next option is here we having the SaaS, software as a service. So in case of software as a service, you are not managing anything, you just using it, or you can say you are just a consumer. So as a consumer, you are just using it here. So let's say the example of here Google Suite, the example of here Office 365. So in case of Office 365, the application also built by the Microsoft. It is also hosted by the Microsoft. What we are doing here, we just using the Office 365 for sending the email, for receiving the email, and to communicate with our client, to communicate with our customer. So in this case, it would be the offering of SaaS. So being a developer, what are the product you are building? So your product can work as a SaaS for your customer, for your client. But in case of SaaS, nothing you are doing over there. So usually you are going to use the cloud either as a IaaS offering, either as a PaaS offering. Because here the developer role is involved. And the SaaS based software, there is no role of the developer. So this is the things it's happening over there. So Sumita, the thing is here, I already told you in the starting of the session, I'm just covering this slide because I know so many people join me first time. If you're joining me second time, third time, I really appreciate you. You're joining me second time, third time. Please wait, because each session, what we are deciding, we are taking it here. So many new audience are joining us first time. If you are assuming like already you know the basic fundamental things, for others people it would not be the understood things. So try to understand the others person also who are joining us. I hope you understand it now. So next thing is here about the cloud advantages. If you're looking at the cloud advantages, so advantages are ultimately you don't need to purchase anything. So what you are doing now, you are reducing the effort, you are reducing the cost of IT management, because you don't need to hire a now the professional IT team, or you can say the IT engineer or network engineer, because now the everything can be managed by the Microsoft team itself. You're just using the services for the deployment purpose, you're just using the services for the hosting purpose over there. So ultimately we are reducing the cost of building, because ultimately you don't need to have a building on a rent, you don't need to have a infrastructure, you don't need to manage over the electricity. Every what are the bills you are having, you are saving that one now. Even it is a very good thing for the startup. Let's say if you are going to start a startup, for you it's a good thing, because startup don't have so much money. They can invest in the building, they can invest in the hardware, they can invest in the so many things over there. So now the startup can also build enterprise grade application after the introduction of cloud. This is the benefit over there. The next one is here, what is happening in case of cloud. Actually now you don't need to manage everything in the on prem, like on your data center. Because what is happening with the data center, you need to have a, a team, a IT infrastructure team, that is taking the regular backup of your data, that is managing the machine over there, that is managing the electricity, everything you are managing yourself. And here in case of cloud is not only let's you have to use all the things in the data center managed by the Microsoft, or the data center managed by the AWS. You can use the mix approach also. Let's say some services you can run on the cloud, and some services you can run in your on prem also. Because sometimes it happens we having already our own infrastructure. Now the new infrastructure we are not willing to buy, but I want to use my existing infrastructure. So that option is also available. So you can choose here on prem and off prem deployment model is up to you. Even they providing the option of private cloud, because if you're taking the example of banking sector, in the banking domain their data is very private. They don't want to share that information to some other person. So what the AWS, what are the Microsoft Azure is offering the things, they just set up a private cloud for you. Don't need to worry about you have to use the public cloud because public cloud is accessible from anywhere. So there we having the issue of security. So they have the private cloud. In the private cloud, only your organization is responsible for managing the things over there. The example of, let's say if you're using the banking sector, like banking domain, or let's say finance domain, there this model is widely used over there. The next one is a scale your IT resources up and down based upon a requirement. So ultimately, if you're taking the example of, let's say, Flipkart, if you're taking the example of, let's say, Amazon.com, nowadays they having a big billion days, they having the sale. So obviously now they need the more infrastructure for handling the traffic. So they just scale out all the things. But after 3 days, after 4 days, they will not have so much traffic. So that time they can scale down the infrastructure. So these things are very easy to do with the help of cloud infrastructure. Same thing you can check it out in the Zoom also. If you look at, because of lockdown, the Zoom is started to use widely. So Zoom already using the cloud based infrastructure. So what the Zoom team has done, they immediately scale out the Zoom capability over there. If just think about if the Zoom were the part of a on-prem hardware, so what will happen? The Zoom team will not able to scale it as per the need. They have to purchase the immediately hardware, and that was not possible in the lockdown. But in the cloud it is possible because already they having the sufficient resources, they having the sufficient infrastructure. So these are the advantages you will find out if you are using the cloud over there. So in scaling you will not find an issue over there. The real example, we having the zoom.com. Akila, when we talking about the virtual machine is the part of the infrastructure as a service because there you are responsible. What software you are going to install over there, what type of application you are willing to run over there, you are responsible for taking the regular backup. In PaaS, those things are managed by the cloud vendor, whether it's a AWS, whether it's a Microsoft Azure, those are managing the things. If I taking the example of Office 365, in Office 365, the software is from Microsoft. Even it is hosted by the Microsoft team only. We just using the Office 365 only for sending the email, only for receiving the email, or like communicating with the server. You are not building the Office 365. But if you're taking the example of your own project, let's say you are building a ABCD application. So that ABCD application code you have written yourself. And if you are using over there MySQL database, if you're using over there SQL Server database, you are responsible over there for writing the store procedure. You are responsible over there for creating the database table. Everything you are managing over there. So that's why when being a developer, you will be always involved either as a infrastructure service offering, either as a platform as a service offering. I hope now it is clear to you. Yeah, Taskin, if you're talking about the private cloud, so private cloud nobody can access. These are not available to the in the public domain. These are restricted to a particular organization. They are restricted to a particular uh, company. That is the coming the in the private cloud. Okay, now let's go ahead further. And the other advantages here for cloud is you are only paying for the consumption. So unnecessary, you are not paying for the resources which actually you are not using. This is also the good point over there. And ultimately, it's removing the need to manage the hardware. So now you don't need to manage the hardware yourself. Everything is now taken care by the AWS, by Microsoft, and by your Google Cloud over there. So these are the cloud advantages you should know. And in this session, we are just going to discuss about two major cloud vendor. The first one is your AWS. Second one is your Microsoft Azure. These are the two major player in the cloud computing. So now let's have a look what is the AWS. If you're looking at the AWS, so AWS is a collection of remote computing services. And these remote computing services, the AWS saying as web services. That's why its name is Amazon Web Services. So you already know about the Amazon. Amazon is a company, and when it's come to the cloud computing, it's coming the AWS. So ultimately, these remote computing services are working together, and they are making a cloud computing platform. And AWS is available in the market in 2006. So this is the first cloud vendor came into the picture in 2006. So AWS is the first cloud vendor which started to offer the cloud computing services over there. And if you will look at the AWS, so AWS is the most comprehensive and broadly adopted the cloud platform. So if you look at everywhere, the people are using AWS, whether it's say India, whether it's say USA, whether it's say UK, everywhere people are using AWS for developing their application, for deployment purpose, for hosting purpose. There are so many services are offered by the AWS. So it's a most trusted cloud vendor in the market. And AWS is not only for Java developer, it's not only for .NET developer, PHP developer. You can build any type of application using any language, using any tool, and immediately you can deploy your application using the AWS infrastructure. And it would be available to globally immediately, because AWS data centers are available in India also, in US also, in UK also. In so many countries, they having the infrastructure. So using the Amazon infrastructure, you can deploy your application over there. It's simple. Suresh, when you're talking about to convert from public to private, it needs a migration, because private having its different infrastructure, public having different infrastructure. It is just like machine one you are having, let's say in Bangalore. Hi guys, am I audible to you now properly? Actually, there was a power cut, so everything was disconnected. Can you hear me properly now? Can you confirm through the chat window? Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Sorry for that, there was a power cut issue. So we were discussing here like AWS can be used for deploying the any type of application. So it doesn't mean you have to use only Java, like any specific language or tool. You can use any language, you can use any tool over there. It's a simple things. Now let's move to the Microsoft Azure. If you look at the Azure, so Azure is also the open and flexible cloud platform which offers the development, data storing, service hosting, service management solution. And first time it is offered by the Microsoft in 2010. So it is available from 2010. So AWS came very like in the AWS was the first cloud vendor. Later on, the Microsoft Azure came into the picture. So the Microsoft Azure also offering you the on-demand compute and storage to host, scale, and manage the web application through the Microsoft data center. So whatever the things, or you can say whatever the facilities offered by the AWS, same facility also offered by the Microsoft Azure over there. So here also you can build your application using any language, using any tool, using any framework, and you can deploy to the Microsoft Azure. You can say you can use the Microsoft data center for hosting, or you can say for deploying your application. So both cloud vendors are doing the same thing. Now let's have a look what are the various cloud deployment models are available. So there are three different cloud deployment models are available: the public, private, and hybrid. In the public deployment model, this deployment model is accessible from anywhere. So it's accessible through the internet. So whether you are using AWS, whether you are using Microsoft Azure, so from anywhere using the just internet, you can manage your resources, you can do the deployment, everything can be managed through a public internet. The second one is a private. So private is limited to the few organization. Let's say you don't want to make your data to the through the internet. You are not willing to manage through the internet. You are willing to manage the things through the intranet, which should be exclusive only for your own organization. That should be exclusive only for your own company. In that case, you can go ahead with the private cloud. This deployment model is especially useful when you are having very sensitive data. Let's say any financial data. Let's say we having in banking domain. Let's say we having any. Let's say the military data. Let's say we having the military data in India. We having the military data in USA. So such are very private information. We cannot share with anyone. The third one is your hybrid. So hybrid is a combination of public and private. So few things you can keep as a public, few things you can keep as a private. So one of the deployment model you can use here for deploying the application. Okay, so these about the deployment models here. Now let's compare the public cloud adoption in 2019 versus 2020. So this is the actually picture I have just taken from the Flexera 2020 State of the Cloud report. You can check it out. It's available over the internet. I have not created it. And you can see here in 2019, the 61% the people are using the AWS. Now in 2020, it has been increased to 76%. This is the adoption rate of Azure. This is the adoption rate of cloud. This is for VMware cloud on AWS. Then we have been the Oracle, IBM, Alibaba. And guys, here don't think like only one company is using only one cloud. Actually, one company is using the multiple clouds. If I'm working for, let's say, XYZ company, so that XYZ company also using AWS in project one, The XYZ company also using the Azure in project 2. In project 3, they might be using Google Cloud. In project 4, they might be using some other cloud. And sometimes it happens they mixing the both cloud also. Let's say some services they just hosted on the AWS, some services they hosted on Azure, some services they have hosted on Google. Because every cloud vendor having its own advantages. If you're looking at the AWS is very good in terms of infrastructure. If you're looking at the Microsoft Azure is very good in terms of PaaS offering. So Azure is offering so many PaaS services, which is no cloud vendor is offering in the market. If you look at the Google Cloud is very good in case of machine learning, in case of AI, in case of let's say the analytics, data analytics. Their Google Cloud is very good. So just identify the things where actually I need the AWS, where I need the Azure, where I need the Google Cloud, because sometimes we need the best things, like the best quality. So what are the best is available in the market. So you can find out the best from the AWS, you can get the best from the Azure, you can get the best from the Google Cloud and put in a single project. That also possible. You have to just manage the things over there. So this is about the public cloud adoption rate, and I just tell you about the things, how the things can be mixed. It doesn't mean you have to use only one cloud. Multiple clouds can be used in a single project. Now let's have a look at the AWS services. What are the various AWS services are available here? So these are the various AWS services. So these are the services for the application. So these services categories is defined as application services, where we having the Amazon SQS, Amazon Elastic Transcoder, they having the mobile services, Amazon Cognitive, Amazon SNS, they having the enterprise services, they having the application services, they having the compute services. So if you will look at here, mainly actually we having the compute services here, we having the database services over there. So these are the mainly services. If you look at EC2, we use for the deployment purpose. We use here the Amazon Cloud Front for managing the network over there. We having the database where we can manage the things. So these are the various AWS services offering. Similar way, Microsoft Azure also offering the services. So these are the Microsoft Azure services if you will look at. So we also having here compute services. We also having here web development, let's say mobile deployment purpose services. We having the integration services. We having the services related to the data management. We having the services related to the IoT analytics. So you can find out almost categories same in both the cases, whether it's say AWS, whether it's say Microsoft Azure. You will find out the things are looking like here same exactly. Now let's compare the services over there so that you having the now better understanding. So if you will compare the AWS and Azure services, this is the comparison about the compute services. In AWS, we use EC2. In Azure, we use virtual machine. In AWS, we use Elastic Beam. For the same purpose, we can use here PaaS services. That is web app over there. In AWS, we use AWS Lambda. That is offering from the serverless computing. In Azure, we having the Azure function for doing the same thing. If you look at in the networking services in AWS, we having the VPC, virtual private network. Here also we having the virtual private network. Here they use direct connect. Here you can use express route. Here we having the route 53. Here is a Azure DNS. It's a ELB. Here it is available Azure load balancer. It is a cloud front. It's a CDN over there. For storage services, they use S3. In Azure VCA, it's a blob storage. In AWS, they having the SQS. In Azure, it's a queue storage. Here in AWS, they're having the EFS. They having your file storage. They having a Amazon Glacier. It's using your Azure backup. So you can see there is an alternative available in each cloud. For database in AWS, there is a RDS for the RDBMS management. Here it's a SQL database. In AWS, there is a DynamoDB. For the NoSQL database, here it's a DocumentDB. It's a Redshift. It's a SQL data warehouse. So this is the services comparison, or you can say these are the alternative are available. It's simple. Vikrant, here if you had say private cloud. So it will not available to everyone. If you will look at bank ATM, so bank ATM you cannot access from the outside. They are connected to the intranet of the banks. Only whatever the bank ATM they are having, from there only you can withdraw the money. So they can be distributed at different location, but everything is managed by that particular company as we manage at the internet level. If you look at the other comparison, these are the other comparison over there. So AWS was launched in 2006, Azure in 2010. So AWS was also in the market from 2002, but that time it was not offering so many services. So they actually revamp all the things and launch it in 2006. Same happens with the Azure also. These are the availability zone. These are the cache option over elastic cache, Redis cache over there. This is the application testing. They're offering the things. If you're looking at the Kubernetes, here it's a Elastic Kubernetes service. It's a Azure Kubernetes service. It's a Amazon API gateway. Here in Azure, we having the Azure API gateway. For handling the media service, it's a Amazon Elastic Transcoder. In Azure, it's a Azure Media Service. So this is the comparison you will find out in AWS and Azure. So now let's move to the next slide, that is about the AWS certification. How many people are here willing to do the certification in AWS? Do we have someone who is willing to do the certification in AWS? Or you can tell me the Azure also, if you are looking for certification for Azure also. Do we have someone? Please tell me through the chat window. Even if you have any queries so far, please let me know. Okay. So Chaitanya is saying he's looking for Azure. Rakesh also saying it's looking for Azure. Okay. Praveen is saying it's looking for AWS. Yakila, when you're talking about the certification, certification is now actually certified developer, like certified architect, engineer having the priority as compared to the other person, because it's a surety to the company. Let's say you know the AWS, you know the Microsoft Azure. So certification is now a mandatory things if you're looking at. So Shumita, if you're taking at the things at the starting of the session, already told you. Today's session is about the comparison. I'm not doing here any hands-on. This is already mentioned the agenda. I'm sorry for that if you didn't refer the agenda. So here if you're talking about which one is widely used, both are widely used vendors. AWS also, even Microsoft Azure also. But if you're looking at where AWS people use, so if you are a Java developer, if you are a PHP developer, let's say JavaScript developer, so first choice is here AWS. But let's say if you are a .NET developer, so first choice is here Microsoft Azure. But I'm not saying here like the .NET based application cannot be managed and deployed to the AWS. There also it can be deployed, but it's just a priority. Same thing is happening in cloud also. So .NET based application having the priority for Microsoft Azure, Java based and JavaScript based developer having the priority for AWS. Same thing. Yeah, Rakesh, we having a course for Microsoft Azure Solution Architect also. If you're willing to join, you can contact us. We will help you. Okay, it's a good thing if you're looking for the certification, because I'm suggesting you here, if you are having the experience of, let's say, more than 6 years, let's say you're working as a senior software engineer, you are working as a, let's say, a cloud architect, please go for the certification. Because after the COVID pandemic, what is happening, every company start migrating the project to the cloud. because on the cloud they having the so many benefit. They can scale the things based upon the demand. So the certified people are having the more priority as compared to the non-certified. But I'm not saying here if you're not certified you will not get the job. You will get it, but it's just a matter of priority, because some clients mention clearly we need the AWS certified people, we need the Microsoft Azure certified people on this project to work. It's just a choice of the client. Okay, so let me share here, if you're looking for the AWS, what are the various certification are available. So AWS has divided the certification to three main section, like foundational, associate, and professional. And if you're looking at for foundational, there is a certification for cloud practitioner. But this certification is optional. It is not mandatory to. If you're willing to do it here, you can do it here. It's a optional certificate. So if you are going to get started with AWS, fundamental like AWS, basic understanding. So cloud practitioner is the certificate over there. And the next phase, we having the certificate related to the associate. So for associate, the most popular certificate is here AWS Solution Architect. So this is the most popular certificate. Even the company expecting the people should be at least solution architect certified associate. Even you can go for the AWS certified developer associate certificate also, that is specially designed for the developer. Solution architect is designed for developer as well as administrator. Then we having a SysOps administrator, that is specially designed for operation activity. So these certificate actually at the associate level. So to have the associate level certification, make sure you are having the working experience also with AWS. If you don't have the working experience with the AWS, so you will not able to understand all the services of AWS, how to manage, how to do the things. So make sure you are building some project also with by using the AWS services. And the next one is a professional level certificate. That is a AWS certified solution architect professional, AWS certified DevOps engineer professional. That is the professional level. So the professional level certificate you should do after going through the associate level certification. So first thing I suggesting you here, first go through the solution architect associate or AWS developer associate certification. Later on, you can think about the AWS solution architect and DevOps engineer. But for the DevOps engineer, you should have either developer associate certificate or either SysOps administrator certificate. One of the certificate you can do here. After that, you can go for the DevOps engineer certificate. So these are the certificates are available over here. Okay, Taskin, if you're looking for such session, we will try to manage. Vivek, if you're looking for the AWS certification, I already shared the things. The syllabus for all these certification exam is available on the online. You can go to the Amazon.com certificate section. There they have mentioned the detailed syllabus, like what are the services they're expecting from a AWS solution architect, from a AWS developer. They have mentioned over there. The role and responsibility of the solution architect is like code deployment and the resource management in the cloud. So ultimately, what are the application you build locally? So that application now you are going to deploy to the cloud. From the cloud, you need to create multiple resources. You have to manage them. You have to monitor them. You are taking care of all the things over there. So that thing is taken care by the solution architect. The most popular certification is the solution architect over there. If you're looking at the label, so label it's a beginner, it's a associate, it's a professional. Already it's mentioned a label over there. The validity here, if you're looking at the validity, so if you have done the certification, so that certification will available to you. But with the every year they just adding the new services over there. They are doing the things on the based upon the requirement. Based upon that, we are doing the things. Simple. So Smith, I don't think what you are expecting from me. If you can tell me in detail, then can I help you? If you're just passing the things, then how can I ask? You didn't ask me any question. You're just telling me what is happening. Ask me the question, then I will give you the reply. Simple. Sonia, I already explained to you about the Azure and AWS. First, decide your career path. If you are a .NET developer, so usually use .NET developer, go for the Microsoft Azure certification. If you are a JavaScript developer, if you are a Java developer, they usually go for the AWS. This is the usually things the people follow. The same thing I'm telling you over there. But it doesn't mean that .NET developer cannot go for the AWS certification because it happens on which project you are working. They're using only AWS. So obviously it should be the AWS certified because already you have decided we will use AWS for building the .NET based application. It's simple. Vivek Verma, there is no such challenges you will face. If you're going for the AWS, not the Azure, you will not face any challenge. There is no challenge. Even if you will look at the previous slide, in the previous slide, I just shown the way how the AWS and Azure are offering the similar services. If you know one of the cloud, you can learn another cloud easily. It is just like if you know the C sharp, you can learn Java language easily. If you know the Java language, you can learn the C sharp easily. Same thing is here. If you know the Angular, you can learn the React easily. If you know the React, you can learn the Angular because fundamentally, concept wise, things are same. It's simple. Okay, let me share here the path for the Microsoft Azure based certification also. These are the paths available. We having the fundamentals, we having the associate, we having the expert. These are similar to the AWS also. In AWS also we having the foundational, we having the associate, and we having the professional. So here also they have divided the things into three sections. And if you look at it, we having the Azure fundamental. For associate, we having the Azure developer associate, we having the Azure administrator associate, and for expert level, we having the Azure solution architect, and we having here Azure DevOps engineer. And guys, here apart from these certification, Microsoft Azure also offering other certification. Even AWS also offering other certification. Here I have mentioned the most popular certification the people are willing to do. So Microsoft Azure is not only limited to this set of certification, they offering others also. The same thing with the AWS also. So if you look at in AWS also we having the certification for developer. In Azure also we having the certification for developer. In AWS also we having the certification for solution architect. Here also we having the certification for solution architect. There also we having the administrator level certificate. Here also we having the administrator level certificate. So these are the things are available. There also we having the DevOps engineer. Here also we having the DevOps engineer. As Sharayan Gupta, I'm telling you here, first you should start with the developer associate. If you're working as a developer, my suggestion is here first go for the developer associate certification. Because when you will go through the developer associate certification, you will have the complete understanding of Microsoft Azure services to use in your web application development and your application development. Because in case of solution architect, role is about the decision making, like what the services we should use in a project, what are the things we should not use in our project, how we can optimize our application running course. Those decisions are taken care by the solution architect. Anything else? At the scheme, you can go for the IBM also because I said again, based upon the project requirement, the things are going to be changed. If in your project they are using the IBM cloud, you can go for the IBM cloud also. It's simple. Prashad, if you're talking about the cloud career, so cloud career is very long. I'm telling you again because It just started. If you look at the cloud before 1 year back, or like say 2 years back, there was no so much craze, but nowadays it's a craze. The reason is here, the traffic over the internet has been increased a lot. So now whatever the a small shop you are having around you, whatever the small the company you are having around you, they also having a good number of traffic over there. So ultimately they have to manage their application in the cloud now. So if you will try to become a cloud developer or like cloud architect, just invest here, and I'm sure till 5 to 10 years you can save the things over there. Costing, okay, if you're looking for the costing, so costing is actually different for the different certification. For Microsoft, so AWS cloud practitioner, the costing is here somewhere around 100 USD. But just check it here as per your country. So as per the country, as per your currency, you can check it out here, the AWS certification cost. So we having here AWS certification. So official link you will get for the AWS. This is the official link. And here you can find out how much they are charging. So apart from whatever the certificate I just shown to you, these are the certificates available. You can go for the advanced networking, you can go for the security, you can go for the machine learning, data analytics, and AWS database. So in this web page, they have mentioned everything. So they have mentioned the exam preparation things. They mention what are the upcoming things are over there. Everything they have mentioned here clearly. So you can look at this link. I'm sharing the link here if you're interested to look at the AWS things over there. Kalyan, there is no requirement. You have to pass the AZ204. Initially, it was required. Now you can directly go. Vinod, if you're looking at the Azure Solution Architect, it's a combination of some the development based experience and the administration based experience. That's what is happening over there, simply. Okay, if you're looking for Microsoft Azure, so we having here Microsoft Azure certification. So you can go for the Microsoft Azure certification of website. So this is the official website where you can find out the information about the certification. Neeraj, there is no such thing. Let's say you can directly go to the expert level certification. But my suggestion is here, until you don't know how to build the application using the Azure based services, using the AWS based services, you will not able to take the better decision over there. This is what I feel over there. So my understanding is here, first experience the services with your development, then you will able to take the better decision, like which service I should use, which service I should not use. This is my understanding. So this is the link over there where you can go for AWS certification. So here they have mentioned all the certification over there. Even the cost also you can refer here. What are the costing they are having, you can find out over there. It's a AZ204. They mention the cost as per the US. It's a 165 USD, but just change the country here. Let's say India. In India, it's 4800 INR. Same thing you will find out in case of AWS also. AWS also having the similar cost. Almost they having the similar cost. I also checked there the costing. Somewhere I find out the cost. Do you have any other query regarding the certification? If you're having the query, please let me know. I can help you. Alok, if you're looking for the certification, again, I'm saying what the UI technology you are using. Are you using Angular? Are you using React? And sometimes it is also decided based upon your company also. If your company using the AWS everywhere, you should go for the AWS certification. If your company using the Azure, you should go for the Azure. I cannot say you should go for the AWS or Azure because every company having the different set of things. But usually the .NET based application, or let's say Java based application, people deploy to AWS. This is the common thing people are doing, which I'm telling you. AWS costing, I find out somewhere it's around 150 USD. You can calculate in INR. So this is the link where you can find out the certification exam cost. Okay, now it is here, it is available. You can see it's a 150 USD for AWS Solution Architect Associate. And for India, need to change the currency, let's say the reason. Then you will get out in India as well. So here you can look at the Azure Solution Architect costing. This is a link. This is the costing over there. It also having the 150 USD. Anything else? Okay, guys, for today's session, I have done from my side. If you are having any query regarding the certification exam, please let me know. Because today class objective was to compare the AWS offering with the Microsoft Azure, so that if you are willing to make a career as a in the AWS cloud, in the Microsoft Azure cloud, this session will help you. If you need some advanced level session, we already held the session on virtual machine on .NET Tricks. You can refer the already held session videos over there, where I have created the way how you can create the virtual machine over there. Even the AWS session video also available on .NET Tricks YouTube channel. From there you can look at. And then if you're working as a full stack .NET developer, I can understand there can be the multiple teams involved. So in that case, I don't know how the meetings you are having internally, because usually the company having the meetings between the developers. It would be decided based upon what the methodology you are following. Are you following Agile? Are you following the Scrum? Based upon that, the number of meetings would be decided between the teams. And you can write to the email to the team member. You can do the interaction, because until you will not do the meeting over there. So in the Agile, you have to follow the Agile methodology based upon the decide the number of meetings between you and between your other team over there. Ajay, if you're talking about the GCP, Azure, and AWS, will say all the clouds people are using across the world. It's just a matter of choice. I said some people are preferring the AWS, some people are preferring the Azure, some people are preferring the Google Cloud. It is exactly in similar way. Some people like .NET, some people like Java, some people like PHP. Same thing is here in the cloud also. So few people work as a .NET developer, few people work as a Java developer, few people work as a Python PHP developer. Same thing is here. Simple. Bikram, I think the open source cloud word, I think you are asking in some other context. Every cloud is open to every developer. Every cloud is open to every type of application. So everyone can use any cloud for the deployment purpose. Anything else you are willing to ask? Okay, guys, thank you for joining the session. If you didn't subscribe to .NET X YouTube channel, I request you to please do subscribe to .NET X YouTube channel. And the next week we having a hands-on session on in AWS. If you are looking for the next week session, I'm just sharing the link. And the next week we will have the Mr. Varun. He's taking a webinar on AWS. So if you're willing to join our next webinar, that is AWS Cloud for developers. So you can register yourself by referring this link. At the same time, we will have a session on AWS again. Thank you, Rajesh, for your feedback. Yeah, just sometime it would be decided how the Azure team is dealing with your company, because so many company already are the customer of the Microsoft. So in that case, they can do the better negotiation in terms of cloud offering. Even Microsoft also provide them better offer. So many things happens behind the scene in terms of costing level negotiation between company to company. So many things are there behind the scene. Nearest DevOps you can also do here, but for being a DevOps developer, you should have either the experience of development, either you should have the experience of administration. So if you are having experience in the development, I suggest you here first go for the developer associate certification, then go for the DevOps. If you're having the experience in infra, go for the administrator level certificate, then join the DevOps level things. It's simple. Okay, Jay, if you are using the Azure from last 5 now switching to AWS, good thing, there is no issue. You can switch to the AWS without any issue. Even if you will find out what are the things you have used in Azure, similar things you will find out in AWS also. Even I'm sure you will get the chance to work on the AWS and Azure also simultaneously, sometime in a single project also. There are so many cases. I'm having so many friends, they are working on more than one cloud. Some services they have hosted on AWS, some services they have hosted in Azure also. That combination also people are using. Anything else? Acronal, you can go for the AWS Solution Architect certificate without an issue, but associate level certificate you have to go. Anything else? Anirez, your answer I have already given to you. Mohan, I already told you here for .NET developer, the first choice here Azure, second is AWS. But decision ultimately you have to take based upon the your role where you are working. Simply. Okay, guys, thank you for joining the today class. Bye. Nearest the Docker training, if you look at, we have already scheduled. If we look at here, Docker training, we have already scheduled. Starting from 1st of November, we are going to start the Docker training. Simply. Join us next time to detail the AWS in detail. Yeah, guys, thank you. Bye.